So humans as animals, we have a lot of advantages, but most of it is actually in our brain. So while we're not going to be talking a lot today about, well, we're talking a lot, about our visual components and the way we represent them. We're not going to be talking a lot about how great our eyes are. And that's because humans don't actually have great eyes. Well, I'm sure you all have beautiful eyes, even though I can't see them through the screen. We as a species, our eyes aren't what is fantastic about us visually. Here I have a picture representing what humans would see from the same height versus what a pigeon would actually see. So our level of detail is not the same at all. For us as humans, it's actually our brain that does this miraculous work. Here's also a very simplified look at how our eyes work. Our cornea takes in light through our iris and into our lens, and then back into the retina in the back of our eye. We have rods and cones in our eyes that pick up black and white and shades of grays, and then blue and red and greens, and then turns them into the millions and millions of different colors that we see. Our optic nerve is then what carries these messages into our brain and does all the translating. While other animals are characterized by their other senses, like dogs by their sense of smell, and bats by their hearing, for example, humans are undoubtedly visual beings. Research from the 3M company found that humans process visuals 60,000 times faster than text. Because of our human nature, what we see has a deep effect on what we do, what we feel, and what we are. There is a lot of information coming in through our eyes, into our brain, all of the time. 65% of people are visual learners, rather than auditory learners or kinesthetic learners, and maybe you are one of them. We are 90% visual beings. That means 90% of information is absorbed by the brain visually. That only leaves 10% to be used by the rest of our senses combined. That's how we remember 80% of what we see versus 10% of what we hear and 20% of what we read. All of this is possible because 70% of all of our sensory receptors are in our eyes. Humans are amazing. Our brains are capable of so much without us even knowing. If we had to think about all of this, we couldn't get anything done. But if we make just a small focus of our attention to the way we present information, we can do good things and we can increase the effectiveness of our communication. So what else do we know about our brain and the power of the visual medium? We know we are attracted to color. We are 80% more compliant, more willing to read material in front of us, and more motivated to follow through and complete tasks if it's presented with color. Visual graphics are also great because they can be read quickly by people, regardless of their language or facility with our jargon, which helps us to expand our conversation beyond our current context, but also provides a way for us to communicate with those who might not understand our language. And we know that social media posts are significantly more likely to be read and clicked on if they include a picture or a graphic. So be sure to entice your readers with something visual. We will talk more about this later, but the icons from the Diocesan annual giving program are so well suited to your visual budget needs. They are colorful. They provide a way to translate what is in fact our jargon. They can be used in any language context, and they will work wonderfully on your social media posts. Our brain does in fact do some very heavy lifting. You haven't had any trouble recognizing the stop sign, even though it is written in Malay, have you? It only took us about 150 milliseconds for this symbol to be processed, and about 100 milliseconds to attach a meaning to it. So in about a quarter of a second, we saw the symbol in the graphic and we figured out what it meant. I find this truly amazing, yet hard to believe that as quickly as we put data together, we still have such incredible information overload. And of course, my beloved IKEA. They present their instructions with these pictures only, and that's so they can use their instructions all throughout the world. That said, I'm sure even they are aware of this statistic, that if both text and illustrations are provided as directions, you're likely to do 323% better than if you're following directions without pictures, or in my case, perhaps with pictures alone. And also, adding pictures to your text-based information makes people more inclined to believe what you're reading. The key factor seems to be the visual component providing specific information that relates to the text, connecting people to what they're seeing. We are clearly a people that rely on visuals to ensure credibility. Pictures and graphics together with our text have a distinct influence on behavior. And this is a very compelling reason to include a graphic with the stories we tell about our ministries.